Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Will and welcome to Copper Jacket TV. So as many of you know, we have followed California's proposed Glock ban, AB1127, very closely here on this channel. Not just because this will have a dramatic impact on the state of California, but because this is something that other blue states would love to see passed. As a matter of fact, other blue states have attempted this same thing in the past, but they have failed. So if California is allowed to succeed, you can almost be guaranteed that you're going to see other blue states try and adopt the same thing. So this is something that we need to see stopped now. Well, just yesterday on August 18th, the California State Legislature reconvened, and AB1127 and AB1078 were the first things up on the menu. And we got a major update with those two bills, so we need to talk about what's going on. Stay tuned. Now, real quick before we get started, this video is proudly sponsored by American Heart for Gold. Listen, everybody in the firearms community understands the value of precious metals. Brass and lead could protect your life, but silver and gold can protect your savings. You know, in our lifetime, the dominance of the US dollar was supreme, but that may change soon. The stock market swings back and forth every day, and we're facing record inflation, increasing costs, and unprecedented tariffs. So don't let your life savings become a casualty of market crashes or tariff wars. In times of economic chaos like now, there is one currency that stood the test of time and continues to increase in value: physical gold and silver. Now, they can print more dollars, but they can't print any more gold. While the value of the dollar is tanking, the value of gold is hitting record heights, with many predicting that gold might reach $5,000 an ounce by the end of 2025. Now is the time to call the only precious metal dealer that I trust, American Heart for Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your wealth portfolio with physical gold and silver delivered directly to your door. You can also transfer your current retirement account into a gold IRA, tax and penalty free, with the finest products, amazing customer service, and buyback commitment. If you contact American Heart for Gold today and tell them I sent you, they will give you up to $15,000 of free silver on your first order. So call them now. Click the link in the description or call 866-856-2507. That's 866-856-2507, or text COPPER to 65532. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on here. So like I was saying in the beginning, just yesterday on August 18th, the California State Legislature reconvened and started hearing all of the bills that have been paused during the summer recess again. Two of those bills that they heard yesterday were AB 1127 and AB 1078, which is the new 3-a-month bill. If you guys know what the 1-a-month is, this is a new 3-a-month bill. Well, those bills were heard in the Senate Appropriations Committee. These two bills have already passed the Assembly. They were voted on the Assembly floor. They both have plenty of sponsors and co-sponsors, and they have been flying through the process. Well, now that they've passed the Assembly and they're in the Senate, they're making their way through all the different committees. Well, yesterday was the Appropriations Committee, which is the last committee to hear these bills before they go to the Senate floor for a vote and then head up to the governor's desk. Now, these two bills were heard, and out of the nearly 300 bills that were heard in the Senate Appropriations Committee yesterday, only 3 of 4, I believe, actually passed through. These ones were put in the suspense file. Now, you might be hearing some different things about what that means, what the suspense file is, and what it does, and we need to kind of clear that up.
AB 1127 by Assemblymember Gabriel, who has waived presentation. Testimony in support. Testimony in opposition.
David Bollock, Serving Family Values, in opposition of 1127 and 1264, and we are in support of 468. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was very, yeah. Get them all done at the same time. Anyone else in opposition? Department of Finance.
No file.
This is suspense file candidate AB 1127. Without objection, will move to suspense. AB 1078 by Assemblymember Berman, who has waived presentation. Testimony in support. In opposition. Department of Finance.
No file.
This is a suspense file candidate. Without objection, AB 1078 will move to suspense.
Now, the first thing you need to understand about the suspense file is that it doesn't necessarily mean that these bills have been suspended or that these bills are done and they're not moving forward. As a matter of fact, the Senate Appropriations Committee chairman kind of explained what the suspense file is.
most of these bills are going to go to suspense. What that means is it will be reviewed and decisions will be made within the next 2 weeks about whether they're going to move out at all. They may stay on suspense, which means then they don't go any further, or they may move out.
Now, in order to understand why these went to the suspense file and what they're going to be looking at, you have to first take a look at the committee that put them there. Again, this is the last committee before they go to the Senate floor. The Appropriations Committee is sort of like the Finance Committee. So you have a state budget, right? And then all these bills come through the Appropriations Committee, and the Appropriations Committee looks to see how much is this going to cost the state of California to implement. If it's not going to cost anything, they typically don't have a problem with it, and they send it right through. If it's going to cost a little bit, it might go to the suspense file. As a matter of fact, a vast majority of the bills end up going to the suspense file. If it's going to cost a lot, it'll still go to the suspense file, where again, it's not done. It's not over with. It just means that they're going to look a little bit more into the financial aspects of the bill and what it might cost the state. Because as you know, the state of California right now is in a big hole, and that might actually work out in our favor. If the state cannot afford to implement these bills, then they're not going to pass these bills. Now, this has already flown through appropriations in the Assembly, and so the Appropriations Committee didn't have a problem with it there, so that's a little bit of a concern. Also, the state didn't have any notes that they wanted to present to the Appropriations Committee about possible finance issues or expenditures or things that might arise from the implementation of this bill. So that's also a concern, but it still just tells us that the committee wants to take a look at these bills and talk a little bit more about their finances. Now, it's not supposed to cost California a bunch or anything really to implement this. The only real issue that I see financially when it comes to these two bills are the fact that they know that they're going to get sued into non-existence, right? So the second this passes, there's going to be lawsuit after lawsuit, and that can cost the state millions. And those are things that need to be addressed by this Appropriations Committee as well. So if somebody goes up there and says, hey, if you pass this bill, we're going to sue you, and that lawsuit could take, upwards of near a decade is what we've seen in the state of California, at the cost of millions per year to the taxpayer, that could be something that could end up swaying the Appropriations Committee.
The final committee is the Appropriations Committee, which is this committee here. This committee does not look at policy issues. We look at fiscal issues.
So you can see the suspense file is more like a limbo file because, like she said, they're going to sit in that suspense file for the next 2 weeks while they take another look at them and decide exactly what they're going to do. If they don't have a big fiscal impact on the state, more than likely they're going to pass out of that suspense file and go to the Senate floor. If they are going to have some type of dramatic fiscal impact for the state, they're just going to sit there until they eventually fade into history. So while the next 2 weeks are extremely important and we're going to have to watch very closely to see whether or not these two bills pop out of that suspense file or end up staying in there, we do have something else that we need to talk about as well. We have another bill that started off in the Senate. It has gone all the way through the Senate, passed the entire way, past the Senate floor, and gone through all of the committees in the Assembly. And now it's going to be heard in the Assembly Appropriations Committee tomorrow, and that is S704, dealing with background checks on barrels. So again, we have the 3 a month, we have the ban, we have the new background checks, all things that we need to watch for. There is a good likelihood that S704 or SB704 will also end up in a similar file in the Assembly Appropriations Committee because they know that there's going to be lawsuits with that one too. So anyway, I wanted to let you guys know about that. I want to just give you the most up-to-date information that I can. And if anything changes with these two bills, I will let you know as soon as I possibly can. Unfortunately, the internet went out and it's still out. I'm actually using a mobile hotspot now in order to get these videos up while they figure out what the problem is. But it has been a nightmare with internet, and that's why I haven't been able to upload for the past few days. But again, using that mobile hotspot, we're going to get this information out there to you guys. They're not going to stop the signal. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Thumbs ups are also appreciated. It really helps us spread our message and gets the word out there to more people. So thank you to everybody who subscribes, and you all have a great day.